Okay.
Today's date is November 29th, 2024. My name is Grace Rothstein, and I'm a 5th grade student at Temple Shalom of Norwalk, Connecticut. I will be interviewing my grandma. My grandma, Suzanne Rothstein, about her life and legacy. This interview is being recorded for the Oral History Archives of the Jewish Historical Society of Fairfield County, as well as our family archives. Over the next 15 minutes or so, I will ask you questions that will help me learn more about your family's history, especially about our Jewish history. Are you ready?
Yes. The gold book. I just want to.
Okay. Let's start with me telling you.
Yeah, just the dates and things.
Let's start with you telling me your full name.
Suzanne Rochelle Gottfried Rothstein. Right.
Do you know if you were named after anyone?
I was named after my mother's aunt, Hannah.
Do you have a Hebrew name?
Hannah,
Israel?
Hannah, but Israel Giddel.
In this class, I've been learning about the immigration of Jews to the U.S. and other places. Do you know where your parents, grandparents, or great-grandparents immigrated from?
My parents immigrated from Vienna, Austria. My grandparents immigrated from Russia and Hungary, and Romania.
Do you know anything about Jewish life there?
Actually, I do not. They never talked about Jewish life there.
That's fine. Was anyone in the family directly affected by the Holocaust in Europe, pogroms in Russia, Poland, or elsewhere?
Yes. Both my parents had to leave Vienna, Austria because Hitler came in, and they were displaced and came to the United States through various means. But my mother lost some of her family in the Holocaust.
Can you tell me anything else about our family's immigration to the U.S.?
My mother, your great Omi, was on the kindertransport. She was 12, and she was lucky enough.
Do you know why they left?
Because Hitler came in, and they had to leave quickly. So she lived in England with a foster family for 2 years. Her mother and her sister emigrated through England also. Her mother worked, and her sister was too old to be in the kindertransport or a foster home, so she was hired as a domestic, like a nanny. And so they lived there for 6 years. She was 12 when she went, and then she came. She came to the United States when she was 18. And my father, who you'd never met, your great Opa, he came straight from Austria to the United States with his family, and his brothers, some part of his family went through Colombia, Bogota, because not everybody there weren't enough. Every country had quotas, so they came that way. But everybody ended up in the United States ultimately.
Thank you. Can you show me an item or an artifact that is important to you?
Sure. This is a tallit that I wove for your dad for his bar mitzvah.
You wove one for Isaac too.
And yeah. So it's become the family tradition for me to weave the tallit for each person that gets bar mitzvahed or bat mitzvahed. See? Yeah, I did a little embellishment on his.
When did you start it? How long did it take to make it?
Well, I started it probably as soon as he got his date. So it was probably 2 years before, and I probably started to weave it a year before. So I've woven your dad's and his sister's and his dad and mine and all my nieces,
So
Rachel and Lilia, and actually Ben and Chloe. Yeah.
So special.
And you'll get one when you get your date.
Well, here it is. Now, here's a few questions about your life growing up. Where did you grow up, and who did you live with while you were growing up?
Oh, well, that's easy. I grew up in New York City in Washington Heights, and I lived with both my parents and my sister Jeannie, and we lived in an apartment. We started off in a small apartment, a one-bedroom apartment, and my parents slept in the living room and we had the bedroom. And then we were lucky enough to move into up the street a few blocks to a two-bedroom apartment, so that Jeannie and I had a room to ourselves and my parents had a bedroom. And it was a lovely apartment. And my Omi lived in a studio apartment in the same building, a few floors down. So she was always there when we came home from school, and she cooked dinner every night for my parents because they both worked. Yeah, so she was always there, but that she always had her own place to go to.
Now, with school, how did you get to school? Did you walk? Did you take a bus?
Well, when I was in elementary school, I walked to school, and the crossing guard Esther was there, and she crossed us across this huge street, Broadway, and was a really busy intersection. She was there in the morning and in the afternoon and lunchtime if kids were coming home from lunch. And then when I was in junior high school, it was too far to walk, but if you lived a certain distance from school, you got a bus pass. So you just flick that bus pass every day and you got on for free, I think. I don't know how. It was pennies, if it was anything. When I was in high school, I had to take 2 trains to high school. I had to go all the way from Washington Heights to downtown to change to a train to all the way up to the end of the Bronx. Okay? And then I had to walk. Yeah, it took over an hour to get to high school. But if we drove, on days that my father could drive me because he worked in the Bronx, it took 10 minutes. Because it was just over the bridge, right? But I used to meet my friends on the platform. Everybody went downtown and uptown together, so it was kind of fun.
Did you live near your friends?
No. In elementary school, my friends lived like on my block, you know,
Yeah.
in city blocks. In junior high school, my friends lived in a different part of not Washington Heights. They lived in Inwood because a lot of kids came from different schools to go to junior high school. So my friends, I didn't have many friends from my street anymore.
Did you go to Temple?
No. No. I did not belong to a temple. My father was not a believer in religion, and my mother, we did all the rituals at home, but we were not members of a synagogue. But I lived between 2 synagogues, 2 Orthodox synagogues.
So did you?
One
Was
was
it mostly Orthodox?
one was yeshiva,
Okay.
and one was conservative,
Oh, yeah.
but much more. I don't think they had reform.
So did you have a bat mitzvah?
No, I never went past Sunday school.
You did have a
What?
But not as a kid. But
As a child, but
Right.
then as an adult, when your aunt Katie was getting bat mitzvahed, I decided to learn Hebrew at Sunday school. While she was in Sunday school, I took Hebrew. There was an adult Hebrew class. And then at the end of the 2 years, the cantor said, who wants to get bat mitzvah, bar bat mitzvah, b'nai mitzvah, yeah, and 13 people did it. So we studied for our bar mitzvah. So yes, so I did it as an adult. Thank you for reminding me.
Now, you celebrated all the Jewish holidays.
All of them. Yeah, Passover was very strict because my uncle Bernard was very observant, and he was conservative, and he ran it like, start to finish. And there was a carp in the bathtub that Gertie had to make
a carpus?
A carp is a big fish in the bathtub so that she could make a filter fish. No, seriously.
No jars.
No.
What was your favorite holiday?
What was my favorite holiday? Not a Jewish holiday?
Yeah, Jewish
or
holiday.
A Jewish holiday. I guess it wasn't Passover because Passover wasn't that fun. I don't know. Rosh Hashanah? Because we didn't do Sukkot. We didn't do like the fun holidays.
Hanukkah?
Oh, Hanukkah. No, that's right, Hanukkah. Yeah, but we didn't have big celebrations like you do now. It was just at home, lighting the candles. We didn't get 8 presents. You got 1 present, and that was that was it. And every year I asked for the same thing, which was art supplies.
Oh,
New markers
nice.
and new crayons.
Now, what were some of your family traditions that you had?
Oh, what were they? Oh, we went away as a family. We went to the Catskills, and it would take 2 days to drive there. It was a long journey, and the cars were big, so all the clothes were on racks in the back of the car, and as soon as we got in the car, I would start nagging, when are we going to be there, right? We hadn't even reached the top of the street. So but when we got there, we were out in the country. We stayed at like a small hotel, and there was a pool, and they put on a talent show, and I had to sing, which I didn't like, but that's the thing I remember. But my cousins were there, so it was a time that we could all be together. And it was 1 week or 2 weeks in the summer. Trying to think what.
How did you meet Papa?
I met Papa. I met him at camp, sleepaway camp. But then we weren't friends, we just knew each other. And then when I went to college, he was at the same college, SUNY Buffalo, New York. And I met him at a mixer. Oh, that's where you go to a dance.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like an open house, and, right? And the freshmen go and meet people of all grades. And I ran into him, and that was it. And we went out for ice cream afterwards, ice cream sandwiches, because that was what we did at camp every Friday night.
What else, what are some of your hobbies now?
Oh, one of my hobbies is weaving. Yeah, that's my major hobby. Yeah, that takes most of my time. Hobbying.
Now we're gonna wrap up with one more question.
A big one.
Do you have any advice for future generations like me?
Any advice for future generations? Keep family close, and enjoy your childhood. And be kind to people, and I guess think about how you're impacting the world and what you can do to make it better.
Thank you.